Today, Iran's foreign minister is in Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin. The two countries are set to talk about the ongoing conflict with the U.S. It comes after President Trump pulled envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner from weekend talks. He said it was because there just wasn't a lot of progress. Tomorrow will mark 2 months since the war with Iran started, and it seems like now there is no end in sight. So here to break it all down, where things stand, we've got Professor Stephen Caliendo with North Central College. Good morning. Thanks for being with us again.
So good to see you. Good morning.
All right, so let's start with the stalled peace talks. What does this mean for the war?
Well, it's not a good sign. There's no question about that. I mean, anytime you're moving away from the diplomatic table, that means that violence can return quickly. I think this seems to be in President Trump's pocket at this point. He gets to decide when the ceasefire is over, when his delays are finished. And so if he gets frustrated, that's going to be bad news for the battlefield.
Sure. What signal do you think that Iran is sending with today's meeting between Iran's foreign minister and Putin?
That they're not alone, that they're not isolated, that they haven't been decimated, that the regime hasn't changed, and that they're powerful. And I think President Putin is sending a similar message by agreeing to such a meeting. There's no question about that. And so it puts President Trump in a really difficult situation because he hasn't been wholeheartedly behind Ukraine throughout this engagement, as you know. So there have been times where he saw himself as the broker. But now we have this sort of triangulation happening. And I think that's an important sign that President Putin is trying to send.
Yeah, definitely. So we know that the president pulled Witkoff and Kushner from those meetings. I heard him say over the weekend, we're not going to send people 17 hours away for there not to be any progress. What kind of progress do you think he was looking for?
Well, I think both sides have specific needs that they want to that they want to see satisfied in any kind of negotiation that results in a settlement. I think that the Iranians understand that President Trump is in quite the bind here in the United States, and not just that we're coming up on 60 days, and technically that triggers war powers resolution requirements, but also because the American public is increasingly frustrated. And not optimistic about how quickly this war will end, which I think your viewer poll this morning is already starting to indicate.
Yeah, what do you think about that viewer poll? Do you think yes or no before May 1st?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's very unlikely. The reason I think the folks in the 3% aren't insane, though, even though they're in the vast minority, because things happen things change on a dime. President Trump could, come on TV in an hour and say, yeah, we're pulling everybody out. We've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish there, and that it's all finished. And that wouldn't be shocking to me at all. I don't expect that to happen, but almost nothing surprises me from this administration.
Yeah, and we'll see how things shake out. Even just today, I mean, the president is expected to meet with his top national security team. What do you think their focuses are going to be?
Well, I mean, they're managing two fronts, right? They're managing the war, of course, on the that's a clear indication of what's happening. But on the back end, they have to think about what the Democrats in Congress are going to start saying in the next week. You're going to start hearing more language about the War Powers Act, which, again, suggests that the president has to remove troops within 60 days or ask for an extension for the safety of the troops. But I don't think this administration is going to abide by that. And I think that his advisors know that. I would say also that almost every president since in the last 53 years has argued that act of Congress is unconstitutional and that it unduly limits their Article 2 powers. And so this administration has shown that it likes to test these policies with the courts, and I expect that's the direction they will go in this one as well.
Sure. Now, Stephen, the Strait of Hormuz has been a big one. This has been a continued sticking point. So can you break down this new proposal from Iran surrounding the strait?
Well, look, I think what's interesting is we don't know exactly what's happening in the strait. I mean, the fear of violence has been enough to keep the strait more or less closed. But we don't know exactly if there are mines, where there are mines. We don't know exactly what the capabilities are even from the shore. to monitor. And really, this is less about, I mean, the U.S. is impacted because of the global price of oil, just the way that oil works. But it's really the Gulf nation states that are directly affected. It's more than oil. It's other products and goods that move through that waterway. And so, we're going to have to see how the administration handles this part of it, because it's not something that you can just bomb your way out of. There has to be negotiations, not just with Iran, but it has to be a regional understanding.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep our eye on that, and we'll see if that 97% is right or that 3% is right.
Chicagoans are never wrong.
Yeah, we'll see. Stephen Caliendo, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.